There is a building still standing in Havana today that most people walk past without a second glance. It sits in the heart of the old city, weathered by decades of tropical heat and political upheaval, its walls holding secrets that most of the world has completely forgotten. Inside those walls, for nearly a century before the Cuban Revolution changed everything, some of the most extraordinary cigars ever rolled in human history were produced by master craftsmen who dedicated their entire lives to a single pursuit: perfection in tobacco. The name above the door was H. Upmann, and the story of what happened inside that factory and what happened to it after the revolution is one of the most haunting, most dramatic, and most completely forgotten chapters in the entire history of premium cigars. H. Upmann isn't just a cigar brand, it's a 180-year-old story of banking dynasties, Olympic gold medals, Cuban craftsmanship at its absolute peak, revolutionary confiscation, and a legacy so powerful that even decades of neglect and political upheaval couldn't fully erase it. But the factory, the original factory, that's a different story entirely. Welcome back to the Forgotten Cigars. This one goes deep. Let's get into it. The most unlikely origin story in cigar history. The H. Upmann story begins not with a tobacco farmer or a master torsador, but with a German banker, a detail so unexpected that most people assume it is a myth when they first hear it. Hermann Dietrich Upmann was a partner in a German banking firm who arrived in Havana in the mid-1800s, initially drawn to Cuba by business interests that had nothing to do with tobacco whatsoever. What Upmann found in Cuba, the extraordinary quality of the tobacco being grown in the Vuelta Abajo region, the sophistication of the cigar-making culture already established in Havana, and the enormous commercial opportunity represented by the global demand for premium Cuban cigars, convinced him that there was a business to be built here that went far beyond banking. Upmann established his cigar operation in Havana in 1844, making H. Upmann one of the oldest continuously existing cigar brands in the world, a brand that has outlasted empires, revolutions, trade wars, and the complete transformation of the global tobacco industry. The banking and cigar businesses operated in parallel for years. The Upmann banking firm handled financial transactions while the cigar factory produced what would quickly become some of the most sought-after premium cigars available anywhere in the world. This unusual origin, a banker turned cigar maker, shaped the brand's identity from the very beginning. H. Upmann cigars were positioned not as working-class smokes or everyday indulgences, but as luxury products for the financial and social elite, the kind of people Hermann Upmann had spent his career doing business with. The combination of banking credibility, German precision and organization, and access to the finest Cuban tobacco created a brand culture built on quality, consistency, and a deeply European sense of luxury that would define H. Upmann for generations. The factory that defined a brand. The H. Upmann factory that became the heart of the brand's operations in Havana was not just a production facility, it was a landmark, an institution, and one of the most respected cigar manufacturing operations on the entire island. Located in the heart of Havana, the factory employed hundreds of skilled torsadors at its peak, master rollers who had spent years developing the specific skills required to produce H. Upmann's demanding blend and construction standards consistently at scale. What made the H. Upmann factory distinctive wasn't just the volume of production or the size of the operation, it was the culture of excellence embedded in every level of the facility, from the tobacco selectors, who carefully graded incoming leaf, to the senior torsadors who oversaw the rolling rooms and maintained the brand's exacting standards. The factory developed specific techniques and traditions over decades of production, particular approaches to selecting and aging tobacco, specific rolling methods suited to H. Upmann's blend profiles, and quality control processes that reflected the brand's commitment to delivering a consistent, premium experience in every single cigar. Readers at the factory, a tradition in Cuban cigar manufacturing where a designated person reads aloud to the rolling room from newspapers, novels, and political texts, were an important part of the factory's culture. creating an educated, engaged workforce that took pride in the quality of what they produced. The factory was also associated with one of the most remarkable episodes in cigar history, the production of personalized monogrammed cigar boxes and custom blends for specific high-profile clients, a level of bespoke service that reflected both the brand's luxury positioning and the factory's capabilities. Under the management of the Upmann family and their successors, the factory became a model for what Cuban cigar production could look like when given the resources, the expertise, and the commitment to quality that H. Upmann maintained during its pre-revolutionary golden era. The golden era, H. Upmann at the top of the world. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, H. Upmann reached the absolute peak of its global prestige, a period when the brand was consistently recognized as one of the finest cigar producers in the world, and its factory was considered one of Havana's most important industrial and cultural institutions. The brand achieved something that very few cigar makers have ever managed: genuine recognition and respect at the highest levels of multiple completely different worlds simultaneously. From the financial elite, who had been its original target audience, to the cultural and political establishment that came to associate H. Upmann with the finest tobacco experience available. One of the most celebrated chapters in H. Upmann's golden era was the brand's association with athletic achievement. H. Upmann Cigars won multiple gold medals at international expositions and world's fairs during this period, a form of competitive recognition that the brand used extensively in its marketing to establish credibility and prestige in new markets. These gold medals weren't just marketing tools, they reflected genuine recognition from international juries of experts that H. Upmann's products represented the highest standard of quality achievable in premium cigar production at the time. The brand's distribution network during this era was extensive and sophisticated. H. Upmann cigars were available through the finest tobacconists and luxury retailers in major cities across Europe, North America, and beyond, reaching consumers who had come to specifically request the brand by name as a mark of personal taste and discernment. Famous figures across politics, culture, and business were known to be devoted H. Upmann smokers during this period, a natural byproduct of the brand's positioning at the intersection of financial sophistication, cultural prestige, and genuine tobacco excellence. The factory itself became a point of pride within Havana's cigar industry, a facility whose standards, traditions, and output were respected even by competing manufacturers, recognized as one of the benchmarks against which other premium Cuban operations measured themselves. The banking collapse and the first crisis. Before the Cuban Revolution would bring the ultimate disruption to H. Upmann's story, the brand faced an earlier crisis that nearly destroyed it entirely: the collapse of the Upmann banking firm in the early 1920s. The banking side of the Upmann business empire, which had operated alongside the cigar factory since the brand's founding, ran into severe financial difficulties following the economic turbulence of the post-World War I era, eventually collapsing in a failure that sent shockwaves through Havana's financial community. The banking collapse created an immediate crisis for the cigar operation as well, with the financial infrastructure that had supported the factory's operations suddenly gone. The H. Upmann cigar business faced serious questions about its ability to continue. The brand was ultimately acquired by new ownership, the J. Francao Company, a British tobacco firm with existing relationships in the Cuban cigar industry, which stepped in to take over the cigar operation and stabilize it following the banking disaster. Under Francao's ownership, H. Upmann continued to produce premium cigars from the same Havana factory, using the same workforce and largely the same standards that had defined the brand during its founding era. The ownership changed, but the factory, the team, and the commitment to quality remained largely intact. This episode in H. Upmann's history is important because it demonstrates both the vulnerability and the resilience of the brand, capable of surviving a catastrophic financial crisis that would have destroyed a lesser operation, precisely because the factory, the workforce, and the reputation for quality were strong enough to survive the collapse of the financial empire around them. The Franco era of H. Upmann ownership continued through the decades leading up to the Cuban Revolution, maintaining the brand's prestige and the factory's standards, even as the broader political and social environment in Cuba was shifting in ways that would ultimately prove impossible to survive. The revolution arrives and the factory is taken. When the Cuban Revolution succeeded in January 1959 and Castro's government began the process of nationalizing Cuba's major industries, the H. Upmann factory was among the most significant assets targeted for state takeover. The factory's size, its prominence in Havana's industrial landscape, its history and its association with foreign ownership made it exactly the kind of operation the revolutionary government was determined to bring under state control as part of its broader program of economic transformation. The nationalization of the H. Upmann factory under Cuba Tobacco in the early 1960s was swift and total. Overnight, ownership transferred from private hands to the Cuban state, management was replaced with state-appointed administrators, and the factory's operations were reorganized to fit within the priorities of the centrally planned Cuban economy, rather than the market-driven standards that had defined H. Upmann under private ownership. For the skilled workforce who had spent their careers inside the factory's rolling rooms, the change in ownership created profound uncertainty. Many of the most experienced torcedores, blenders, and quality control specialists chose to leave Cuba rather than continue working under state management, joining the massive wave of Cuban cigar industry professionals who fled to the United States and other countries in the years following the revolution. The exodus of human talent from the H. Upmann factory was devastating in ways that went beyond what any organizational chart could capture. The specific techniques, traditions, and standards that had been developed over more than a century of premium cigar production were carried in the hands and minds of individual craftspeople. And when those people left, that accumulated knowledge left with them. Those who remained at the factory continued to produce cigars under the H. Upmann name, now under Cuba Tobacco management. But the product that emerged from this new era reflected the fundamental changes in management priorities, quality control standards, and institutional culture that came with state ownership. What the factory became and what it lost. Under Cuba Tobacco management, the H. Upmann factory in Havana continued to operate and produce cigars bearing the brand's name, but its role within the Cuban cigar industry was fundamentally transformed from what it had been under private ownership. The factory became part of Havana's broader network of state-managed cigar production facilities, its output planned and directed according to state production quotas and export targets, rather than the market-driven quality standards that had defined H. Upmann under private ownership. Over the decades following nationalization, the H. Upmann factory's physical condition became a reflection of the broader challenges facing Cuba's industrial infrastructure under the state-managed economy. The building that had once been a landmark of industrial achievement, showing the wear of decades of deferred maintenance and limited investment. The brand name H. Upmann survived and continued to be used on Cuban cigars produced under Cuba Tobacco. The state recognized the commercial value of the name in international markets and maintained it as part of the portfolio of Cuban cigar brands exported through Habanos S.A., the joint venture established to manage Cuban cigar exports. However, collectors and cigar historians who have studied the transition period consistently note that the character, consistency, and overall quality profile of H. Upmann cigars changed significantly following nationalization, a reflection of the fundamental changes in how the factory operated and the priorities that governed its production decisions. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of the H. Upmann factory story is this. The building still stands in Havana today, still producing cigars under the H. Upmann name, still employing skilled torcedores who take genuine pride in their craft, but it is operating without the institutional knowledge, the management philosophy, and the accumulated traditions that made the original H. Upmann factory one of the most extraordinary cigar operations the world has ever seen. The legacy outside Cuba, Altadis, and the modern H. Upmann. Outside Cuba, the H. Upmann name took a completely different path following the revolution and the US embargo, eventually becoming part of the portfolio of General Cigar Company and later Altadis USA, the giant tobacco conglomerate that now manages the brand in the American market. Non-Cuban H. Upmann cigars, produced primarily in the Dominican Republic and Honduras, became a significant presence in the American premium cigar market, carrying the same name as the legendary Cuban brand, but representing an entirely different product made with entirely different tobacco by an entirely different organization. For American cigar enthusiasts who grew up after the embargo, the H. Upmann name is associated primarily with these non-Cuban versions, meaning most American smokers have never tasted and have no direct connection to the cigars that built the brand's legendary reputation over 180 years. The existence of two parallel H. Upmann brand identities, the Cuban version managed by Havana SA and the non-Cuban version managed by Altadis USA, creates a uniquely complicated situation for the brand's legacy, with each version appealing to different markets with different histories and different tobacco profiles. Some premium releases and limited editions under both the Cuban and non-Cuban H. Upmann names have received strong reviews from modern cigar enthusiasts. Evidence that the brand's commitment to quality has not completely disappeared under either management structure. But for serious collectors and cigar historians, the definitive H. Upmann remains the pre-nationalization version produced in the original Havana factory under private ownership, a standard that neither the current Cuban version nor the non-Cuban version has been able to fully replicate, for the simple reason that what made the original truly extraordinary cannot be reconstructed from the outside. So the next time you pick up an H. Upmann cigar, whether it is a Cuban version from a duty-free shop in Europe or a Dominican version from your local tobacconist, take a moment to think about what you are holding. A name with 180 years of history behind it. A factory in Havana that once set the global standard for premium cigar production. A brand born from the most unlikely possible beginning. A German banker who fell in love with Cuban tobacco and built into one of the most enduring legends in the history of the industry. The building still stands, the name still exists, but the factory that made H. Upmann truly extraordinary, the one built on a century of accumulated knowledge, family tradition, and an uncompromising commitment to excellence, that factory exists now only in the memories of those who experienced it firsthand, and in the surviving boxes that occasionally surface in private collections around the world. That is the story of H. Upmann's pre-embargo factory, one of the most complete and most quietly devastating losses in all of cigar history. If this story hit home for you, hit subscribe, because every single week on the Forgotten Cigars, we go this deep into the brands, the factories, and the human stories behind cigar history that have been buried, forgotten, or quietly erased from the conversation. Drop a comment below and tell me, did you know the H. Upmann story started with a German banker? Have you ever smoked a vintage Cuban H. Upmann? And which forgotten factory or brand do you want us to cover next? Ring that notification bell so you never miss the next forgotten legend. The history of cigars is deeper and richer than most people ever get to discover, and we're just getting started. See you in the next one.